Namaskar and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 28 of the Diversey BW HOTELIER, the GM show, season 2. It's a wonderful day and I have some excellent general management talent on show today. And we are in Gujarat. And it's also the weekend, Friday, December 1. The topic today is amazing. It's Vibrant Gujarat 2025, Operational Impact on Hospitality and Vision Beyond. Before I go ahead any further, let me bring in my partner to the series Diversey with their video. All right. Now, this is a great show to be in Gujarat. We know Gujarat is hot. Gujarat is happening. But before we really get into the details of the discussion, a little bit on the series. You're aware it is held every Thursday and Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. I'm sure you've blocked your time. Just in case you're not able to watch it live, do not stress. Watch the recordings. They're there on weBBlast.com online or across our social media platforms. Block your time, be there, follow us. And now let me just get on with the show. Vibrant Gujarat 2025, Operational Impact on Hospitality and Vision Beyond. Let me bring in my first colleague on the show, Avik Sen Gupta, who's the Cluster General Manager for the Taj Skyline in Ahmedabad. Welcome to the show, Avik.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure, Avik. Thank you. Next one is Keenan McKenzie, the General Manager of the ITC Narmada, someone who's just hosted the Indian cricket team during the World Cup. Welcome to the show, Keenan.
Hello to the BW HOTELIER team and Mr. Khanna. Thank you for having me on this show. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Delighted to have you on the show. Next in is my dear old friend earlier in Delhi, Suraj Kumar Jha, the General Manager of the well-appointed Crown Plaza Ahmedabad City Centre. Welcome to the show, Suraj.
Greetings, Bhavnesh. A warm welcome to all the other panelists here. And it's such a pleasure being on your show again, Bhavnesh.
Always a pleasure having you on our show, Suraj.
Thank you.
Next one is somebody who I hold high in my esteem given his fantastic mustache, Puneet Bejal, who's the General Manager of the Hyatt Regency in Ahmedabad. Welcome, Puneet.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna, for the compliments. And it's an honor to be a part of this esteemed group. I have been hearing many more of our colleagues from different states, cities. What a phenomenal show. I must congratulate you, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it this time here.
I'll accept those compliments with both hands folded in gratitude, Puneet. Thank you so much. Next is Avinash Deshmukh, my dear friend from Baroda. He's the General Manager of the Welcome Hotel in Vadodara. Welcome to the show, Avinash.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on the show, Mr. Khanna. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be on the show.
Delighted.
Good afternoon to everybody.
Delighted, Avinash. Last but not the least is somebody from the Diamond District of the country, Amit Mehta, who's the Area Director and General Manager of the Surat Marriott Hotel. Welcome to the show, Amit. Hello, Amit. Okay, he'll
Good
come
afternoon, Mr. Khanna. Thank you so much for having me in the show again. I think it's a fantastic show, and I look forward to being part of it again.
Thank you for making it special, Amit. Now, a bit on the topic. In the vibrant tapestry of Gujarat's growth, we all know where Gujarat is and where it is headed, right? It's literally exponential, the curve over there. The role of a general manager in the luxury hospitality sector is paramount. As we delve into the operational impact of vibrant Gujarat movement and chart a course for the next 3 years, our focus is on the visionaries steering the course of luxury hotels. In that case, you all gentlemen. The demands are high, the competition is intense, and the expectations unprecedented. As my esteemed audience joins us, we engage with general managers who are not just navigating this challenging landscape, but are poised to emerge as the architects of Gujarat's hospitality future. So, gentlemen, you have a lot of load on your shoulders, great responsibility on your hands, and we look forward to your capabilities and your vision. Let me just get on straight with the show with my first question to Avik. Avik, if I may, I want to talk about the economic resurgence in Gujarat. If you can assess how the economic resurgence catalyzed by vibrant Gujarat influences the luxury hospitality market.
Thank you for asking a very, very important question. So, as we all know that Gujarat is one of the leading and forefront states in India. It's the economic powerhouse of India, you may call it so. So, Vibrant Gujarat is an effort by the government to bring a lot of industries into Gujarat and bringing a lot of infrastructure, a lot of development into Gujarat, which brings economic prosperity. Now, with economic prosperity, there are people who are coming from outside and there are people who are within Gujarat who benefit from this economic prosperity. So the people who are coming from outside, from different parts of the world, they want the best in class luxury hospitality. Because if they don't get that, then how do they work? How do they focus on their work? And that is where we come in. Similarly, the people who are earning a lot of money in Gujarat, people who are getting gainful employment, they then have disposable incomes, which they want to spend in hotels. That again gives rise to hospitality industry and particularly the luxury one. So vibrant Gujarat and Gujarat becoming an economic powerhouse has a direct bearing on improvement in hospitality landscape, especially in the luxury landscape. So I think good times to look at.
Oh, thank you. That was short, that was crisp and very succinct. Yes, economic resurgence has impact on direct and indirect, be it employment, be it taxation, be it business, right? And all in all, it augurs so well for the state and the country. And of course, our industry. Thank you, Avik. You said a good statement for the show. Now, let me get in with you, Keenan. Let's talk about sustainable luxury practices. Luxury hotels are extremely demanding upon our environment, demanding upon our resources. And why don't you delve into you and your vision for infusing sustainable practices into the operation of luxury hotels? Who better than somebody who's at the helm of the ITC Narmada? And ITC and sustainability, we know they go hand in hand. You're muted.
Well, thank you for asking me this question, sir. As you know, responsible luxury is the core ethos of ITC hotels. Keeping sustainability at the heart of hospitality practices is something which ITC Hotels has been doing for a very long time now. Sustainable business practices that are designed to preserve local culture, focus on environmental conservation, and optimal resource consumption. This is currently the DNA which we are trying to infuse in all our hotels as well as the employees that work with us. In the consumption-driven world that we are living in currently, sir, mindful choices and practices are the only ways forward. Something that we need to put into practice. Currently at the unit, we are doing various initiatives which are helping in these sustainable practices. Firstly, the way we have tied up is with cuisine-led, as well as tying up and showcasing the state. Cuisine-led, we have our origin story series, which we have launched, which explains how to relate to the state through food. Epic Journeys is also something that we are doing, which helps to relate to the state on tourism, which can move from one point to another point. Apart from the LEED certification and being the first LEED Platinum certified hotel in the state of Gujarat, getting sustainable practices into every aspect. And firstly is to train our staff, to teach them how to convey this to guests. I believe that we were in a generation where we were taught and we adapted. But the generation going forward, which I see, including my own daughter, when she comes up and says, let's do this, let's do that, this is not right for the environment. It is very important that going into the future, these things will play a big role when people choose hotels, when the generation that is upcoming in the next 5-6 years, because that is something they are taught on a day-to-day basis, whereas we got to know this later. So sustainable work practices, getting it conveyed, preserving local art, culture, which is a core bottom and very important for us to take forward. That is what is necessary, sir. And I believe that being part of ITC Hotels, we are taking this forward in every way and the best ways that we know how.
Excellent. The very fact that we are conscious, we are aware, and we have it kept on the dashboard is important. And look, sustainable practices for luxury hotels is now no more just about tissues, plastic bottles, and consumables. All right. You talk about LEED certification, which ITC has across so many hotels. I think all hotels would do each other a favor by holding hands and crossing that line of acceptance together. All right. So thank you so much, Keenan. Your response is extremely important. Let me get in with you, Suraj. Let's talk about development strategy. Look, as far as I'm concerned, if at all the challenge is there, it's not just environment and sustainability, it's development. India could do with a lot more hotels, right? We're really, really underdone on that. So if you can tell me, given the substantial infrastructure development in Gujarat, particularly Ahmedabad, how do you plan to capitalize on these opportunities as a hotelier?
Well, thank you, Bhuvnesh, for asking me a wonderful question. In fact, I would also like to echo what Avik mentioned a while before, that how cities or states or perhaps the country benefit from the development of infrastructure. And as you know that the hotel itself has been fighting to get an infrastructure status in many states. Some states, though, have agreed on that. And if you look at infrastructure, I guess the major pillars for any state or city to develop on infrastructure rest on certain parameters, be it sports infrastructure, be it entertainment platform, travel or connectivity, business park, and also the exhibition centers. Now, we know that how Gujarat, or in fact, if I talk about Ahmedabad as a city, has developed all these parameters as far as infrastructure is concerned. We saw Motera Stadium, the biggest in the world, with a seating capacity of 125,000 spectators. We saw cricket power matches here. We recently had, this year itself, the national games took place in Ahmedabad. We're seeing games of kabaddi. And also not to forget, we've been listening interesting stories about Olympics. Now, what happens to the state economy if games like this are sponsored or supported? When we move from sports and look at entertainment, we see a lot of movies which are being shot in Gujarat and quite a few cities which are gaining a lot of confidence in terms of movie makers, includes Champaner, Vadodara, Kutch, Ahmedabad, to name a few. And not to forget, we're looking at how the government is encouraging in terms of making a film city here. Also, I hear that the next Filmfare Award is being held in Ahmedabad, perhaps for the first time moving out of Mumbai. Travel and connectivity, when we see, I'm sure you remember, the first bullet train is going to be running between Ahmedabad and Mumbai. Now, besides the bullet train, ports at Mundra, road infrastructure, networks on ports, and road network has really helped the state to come out and emerge as a strong winner. And when we develop roads and ports, the industrial parks, or perhaps SEZ that the government wants to encourage and build, there are several locations like Sanand, Changodar, Narol, Gandhinagar, and there are important accounts, there are important companies that are currently operating. I mean, even to name a few, Maruti, Honda. In fact, I hear Tesla has also acquired land here. This is first land acquired by Tesla. Now, if all this development works together, it brings in more and more travelers, either they are traveling for business or tourism, and which ultimately affects and benefits the hotels. And hotel does support the economic development of the state. I'm pretty sure with the kind of development that we're seeing, it is going to be a fantastic time and dynamic times ahead. We all are pretty excited to look at more and more such development. And I'm sure that my fellow colleagues here on the panel will also be extremely happy to hear that how we're going to be benefiting from these infrastructure development happening in this state.
So, also you forget that the Delhi-Mumbai highway is going to pass through this, through Gujarat, right?
It is.
And we also forget that one of the biggest producers of milk products in the world, Amul, is there, right?
Yes.
And our very own Reliance and all the refineries. Look, the action is already there. The template is already there. I mean, we are also seeing the flight of capital from China.
Yes.
All in all, if I was an Indian, I'll keep my fingers crossed, because the challenge is not how much. For me, the challenge is when, right? We've got to have the right building block and plans in place, and you guys will take a lot of load. Look, your ADRs are already very, very healthy. I think you could do a little less, but with more rooms. So,
no, absolutely, I agree with you. And I should also have mentioned pharmaceutical, textile, diamonds. These are few industries.
You forget that the Gujju is the world's biggest traveler, and more Gujjus are sitting overseas than they are here, right? So they keep coming back. And the spiritual tourism, or Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statue, that brings me to Puneet. Puneet, my friend from Gwalior in Ahmedabad, tell me, let's talk a bit about global appeal and innovative marketing. I've already told you, Gujarat needs no introduction. Our Prime Minister is a great brand ambassador for Brand India and Brand Gujarat. He's done a lot of selling. So discuss innovative marketing strategies to position Gujarat's luxury hospitality on the global stage.
So thank you so much. I think we all are aware that how important the digital platforms have become than ever before, and they are always evolving from the place where they were. And technology is taking a new step in order to make it better than what it used to be before. As you rightly said, our Prime Minister is a great ambassador for our state, including the Chinese Premier or the UK Prime Minister or the US President. Whosoever comes into Ahmedabad first lands into, before the country, it lands into Ahmedabad, right? And then they go wherever they have to. So from the point of view of marketing, Gujarat is the only state where the tourism department is ultra active and almost acts like an event company to drive the state phenomenally higher in terms of its context, in terms of its culture, in terms of its capability, what Gujarat can do. And of course, the way it collaborates various synergies of different departments into one as an entity. And when you look at whatever our colleagues Suraj spoke before, or even Keenan and Avik, the idea is that whatever we say is so great about Ahmedabad or Gujarat or our industry, I think without marketing, it won't be known to the people around the globe. And for that, the topic of our talk today and the event of Vibrant Gujarat that's happening in January 2024 is a prime example that the state itself feels that we are a vibrant state, whether it is in form of its colorful culture or dynamism in investments with Gift City, or the latest announcements of cultural parks that are coming in. There is huge emphasis on bringing the Olympics into the system, and Gujarat has taken the first step to kind of bring in this innovation in marketing all these pitches which are at a global stage, and nothing is at a local level. Now, when we talk about the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue at Statue of Unity, what a great marketing positioning of Gujarat at a world stage. People have been talking about Statue of Unity near Newark and Manhattan to go there and visit, and as children we have seen it, and now Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statue is becoming a rage. Lakhs and lakhs of tourists are coming in. If you look at what we have, natural beauty with Run of Kutch, they have really gone ahead and promoted Run of Kutch so beautifully. We had a G20 summit wherein most of our hotels, we collaborated to do a big catering for the world G20 delegates. And they have built a road called as Road to Heaven. And when you drive on that road, with ocean on both sides, white sand, you really feel you're in heaven, Till now, we have only heard about Kashmir, but what you see here, the natural beauty, and you see flamingos on the shore, it's such a beautiful sight to drive on that road, In terms of strategic innovation, they are looking at, they're being so disruptive. They are doing incremental tourist spots. They are bringing architectural innovation in terms of promoting the beauty through the adalaj of ancient times. They are looking at radical innovation with Science City, whether it is to do with the largest aquarium here in the city, in the country, or you look at the robotic park. So a huge emphasis that is going on. Another side of the story that Gujarat is developing and marketing itself well is medical tourism. A great amount of people I see traveling from Mumbai, Delhi to get high quality, affordable. There are national award winning doctors who have set up their own premises in the city of Ahmedabad, and people travel from South of Africa and many other places to do this, So overall, I believe that I think with latest innovations, one very important point before I end is Gujarat is the only state which has implemented innovation policy. And there's a website called SSIP Gujarat, and anybody can go through that website and look at innovation. There are startups, and you have great opportunity to get funds to the government to start setting up your business through this innovation platform in marketing through SSIP. So anybody who is listening to this should go through that website and look at opportunities in the state of Gujarat.
Thank you, Puneet. The opportunities are so many. The challenge really is in being able to showcase to the world stage at large or what Gujarat means beyond just having a petrol refinery and being a good destination for manufacturing automobiles or pharmaceuticals or glassware. In fact, nobody recalled that Yera was one of the first, glassware manufacturer, and in Avinash own Baroda, right? So, yeah, it's a great state. And also, there's no taking away from the fact that the entrepreneurial spirit of a Guju, right, is so infectious that you just have to throw them the challenge.
I mean, we can see our country progressing because of that.
There you are. There you are. So, yeah, so one has got to start thinking out of the box, right? Thank you so much, Puneet.
Thank you.
Avinash, I'm coming. We just spoke about Baroda Rao. We've yet not spoken about fabrics, right? So let's talk about, when the opportunities are immense as they are, we've also got to be prepared for crisis management and resilience. So let's talk about how GMs are ready and prepared with strategies to navigate unforeseen challenges and crises.
Absolutely. I think with so much talk of the next 3 years and the next 5 years and so on, it's also probably relevant and pertinent to take a minute to stop and look at what we can do if there does come across a situation like we've all sort of been through recently. So we've all emerged from a very large global crisis, and each country and each state and each city had different shades, in which they performed and came through. So in a nutshell, a crisis means essentially a time of intense difficulty or a danger. So what we need to see is that no matter what the product is or no matter what the service is, all companies essentially have one common characteristic, which is that there are people who work in teams, right? So essentially companies succeed when the teams are resilient and they are able to weather a storm or handle trouble that comes their way. So effectively, teams that are more resilient and are sort of, and they have a plan and they have a certain attitude towards how to take on a challenge, are the teams that are able to weather the storm and come through. So great examples of various companies putting into place various initiatives in the past during the pandemic time, where different protocols were established and people followed them, and then they came through the crisis in great forms and formats. So the key is to understand what really are the essentials that you require to have in place to weather a storm. And effectively, there are sort of 4 factors that one can look at. One is that there doesn't need to be an excess of confidence. One has to be confident, but not be overconfident. There needs to be planning in place in terms of what one needs to do. How does one sort of weather the storm? There needs to be an ability to innovate or improvise. I think that's something that came through quite clearly during the pandemic in the past, and find new forms of services or create new products. We're able to sort of come back into the market stronger and create a value proposition for themselves and create revenues. There's also the psychological safety aspect, which is very critical when there is a crisis. One needs to give assurance to the workforce. One needs to give assurance to oneself and to the family and friends around you that there is stability at hand, that there is something to look forward to. And once you create that roadmap where you have something to look forward to, then I think the teams are able to sort of gravitate towards that standpoint and then sort of come together and sort of push in one direction, which is what is necessary when one has to come through a crisis and look ahead. So I think these are the essentials that one needs to look at when there is a crisis. The presence of a reliable and a resilient team, the presence of a plan, the presence of a psychological safety net or a safety barrier, where one is able to say that, yes, there is something, once one establishes a protocol and we all follow it, then there is something to look forward to at the end and there is a way through the crisis. So I think these are the elements that one needs to be able to sort of put into place. And should this be in place, then I think organizations can weather a storm and look ahead and sort of come through. So these not essentially, timely, I think,
not are timely, but we had an expensive knock down our head 3 years ago, and we are very well aware and now prepared. Look, we know how to handle things.
Absolutely.
And also, if you remember, in the first few months of the pandemic, we guys panicked. We guys overreacted.
That's true.
Now we've
That's
learned how to realistically calibrate and
Absolutely.
get it right. And we're, of
Absolutely.
course, everybody's dealing with precious lives, more so with you when you guys are the brand ambassadors of the country and you're dealing with people who'll carry great word of mouth. Thank you, Avinash. I'm going to roll in with you, Amit. Somebody who's sitting, I'm still looking for that glitter of diamonds. I'm coming, especially to Surat, to pick up some diamonds. Right. So, like they said, there was that movie, Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, yes.
All right. So I've sent a Delhi,
Diamonds are
boy,
women's
I've
best
sent a
friends.
Delhi Punjabi boy to Surat to help me. All
Sure.
right. So no, I was just being some wisecracks on the side. So tell me, let's talk about policy-driven operations. If you can tell us about the implications of government policies that are shaping the hospitality sector, right? More so in a location like Surat, where whose only equivalence is either Brussels or parts of South Africa. Tell me.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Khanna. I think just to clarify, the ADR is only skyrocketing in Ahmedabad, nowhere else in Gujarat.
तो मैं ना हूं फिर
No, I'm talking about the ADRs. You said no,
हाँ,
ADRs are skyrocketing.
डराओ मत ना.
So, see, Gujarat has always been, as Avik said, Gujarat has been the economic powerhouse.
Yes.
And I think it's always been known as a manufacturing hub. But if we look at the government policies in the last 15, 20 years, I think there's a lot of work that government has done to really push tourism and really take it to a different level. So I think when you look at the tourism policy now, which the government of Gujarat has been working on in the last 15, 20 years, I think it's been fantastic. And the good part that I see when I look at that policy is they've really taken a lot of buckets in which they've put tourism into. So it's not only one bucket where they want to put everything in. It's different buckets where they're looking at a very holistic approach of trying to get tourism to come across span state. So if you look at how adventure and wildlife has really been worked on by the policies of the government have been fantastic. Look at what they've done with Gir, the only place where you can get Asiatic lions. So the kind of hotels, the kind of hospitality space that are developed around Gir is fantastic. Then, as Surat said, Puneet said, Ran Utsav. I think the kind of work that has happened because of the Ran Utsav, with getting Mr. Amitabh Bachchan as the brand ambassador and talking about tourism of Gujarat, I think it really made Gujarat bring into the world map as a tourist destination. So I think that was a great policy decision that they took. Then, of course, we all spoke about the Statue of Unity. Look at what is happening in Kevadia today. All the brands are wanting to be there, wanting to start a hotel there. And the whole infrastructure of Kevadia and the areas surrounding Kevadia have really gone into a different level today from what they were almost about 6-7 years ago. So I think these policy decisions have made a lot of difference. There's a new area which is getting developed, which is Dang, which is not very far from Surat. There's a place called Saputara, which is the only hill station of Gujarat. So I think Dang is a beautiful place where they're trying to develop adventure. And Dang is a place where you have almost about 300 species of birds. So imagine the kind of focus that the government policy has today on that. And then when you look at another vertical that they're looking at is MICE tourism again is becoming big today in Gujarat, pan Gujarat. Look at how Mahatma Mandir has been established. And look at the kind of focus that it has brought into Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar and the kind of events Mahatma Mandir has got. Imagine 20,000 square meters of exhibition space. So I think MICE tourism, and if you look at the policy, the kind of growth that they're giving to people who are putting up large convention centers is fantastic. There are a lot of people in Surat who are trying to pick up big convention centers and exhibition spaces to really get a piece of that pie now because of the government policies, because of the incentivization that the government is doing because of the MICE tourism. Then look at how they've created an exhibition hall, which is almost about 4,500 square meters just below the Statue of Unity. So again, that's another way of really promoting the guys come and see Statue of Unity, but you also have an opportunity to do a large conference. So it's again, then they have another bucket where they look at heritage tourism, which is a very strong heritage tourism policy. So they have really catered to that aspect now in terms of they want the people to preserve. And Bhuvnesh, I am a very big fan of Mr. Amarnath. The way he's turned around Nimrana is fantastic. So I think the government of Gujarat is really looking at somebody like Mr. Amarnath to do something in Gujarat similar to what has happened to Nimrana. So what they're trying to do with this policy of heritage tourism is they're trying to tell people, convert your havelis, convert your palaces, and restore them so that you can really optimize the economic value of that asset that you have with you. So I think there are a lot of things. You're muted. Mr. Khanna, you're muted.
So Aman is 10 years my senior from school. I shall ensure he watches this. But let me tell you, he has so many demands from so many people to come and take over these properties, maintain them and revive them.
I'm a big fan of him. The way he's turned around.
I'll ensure he watches this. I'm going to send him. I'll ensure he shall watch it live.
Thank you.
But I must tell you, the opportunities are immense. The government is doing a lot. I mean, Surat, for that matter, is an example of being India's filthiest city, if I must to say, to being India's cleanest city.
Cleanest city. Absolutely. If you see in terms of the size of Surat, of course, Indore is number one. But when you look at the size of Surat, which is almost about 8 million people, in the large size, it is the cleanest city in the country. Then
so
again,
if there is a will, there is a way.
Absolutely. Then coming back to the way they look at things, I think religious, spiritual tourism has always been a very big strength of Gujarat. Whether we look at Dwarkadish temple in Dwarka, whether we look at Somnath temple. So there is a lot of that sector has really been developed and government has really done a lot of work, a lot of really policy driven decisions taken in that sector to really cater to hospitality industry. I'm not talking only about luxury space. There are a lot of second star, 3-star, 4-star hotels that have really mushroomed because of those policy decisions. So that also has really helped. And as my friend Puneet and Surat said, I think we're now getting into this. There is a new policy which has come, which is the cinematic policy. So the 69th Filmfare Awards now are happening in Gujarat next year. So I think they're really trying to push for Gujarat as a destination for people to come and shoot their TV serials, shoot their movies. I think Run of Kutch, White Desert is a great example. Then I think we have one of the only blue certified beaches in India, which is the Shivrajpur beach at Dwarka. So I think that's another destination that government is really trying to push to really showcase. So I think a lot is happening. Look at what they're doing with the Surat Diamond Bourse today. It is
they are doing a lot. Amit, I'm going to take a forced break over there. We are going to. We have to take that break. We have to bring in our sponsor there. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Amit, are you done with your response? Closed?
Yeah, I'm almost done. You can see how excited I am about the policies of the government of Gujarat.
We are all excited. We are all so excited. All right. Thank you, Amit. Thank you. Sorry, I had to cut you down because of the constraints for a commercial break.
Yeah.
All right. So let me now roll into the second part of the episode. Avi, come back to you. So, Avi,
Yes.
Tell me about strategic infrastructure leverage. You know, today everything is all about leverages. If you can explore how general managers can leverage strategic infrastructure developments to enhance operational efficiencies. In short.
Yes, so certainly. So see, as a general manager of a hotel, now what I'm going to say may appear very weird or from otherworldly, but we actually do a lot of good to the society because there is a lot of employment that we create. And all this is possible only because if we can create operational excellence, if we can create operational efficiencies using the infrastructure leverage. So what is happening now is that in Gujarat, there have been a lot of very good events which have happened in the last couple of years. And looking forward, we are seeing more of them to come up. So what is happening during these events, we are able to get a lot of people who we give employment to. In fact, some of us in Ahmedabad, some of the hoteliers, we have all got together and with the help of Tata Trusts, we have started an initiative where we are training people who are from underprivileged backgrounds and where we are giving them basic skills, culinary skills, basic housekeeping skills, and giving them employment. So as a result, we are helping the downtrodden. And since we have a large capacity, we are able to leverage the efficiency and we are able to generate employment. So the infrastructure push which the government is doing, the policy push which the government is doing is being leveraged by the hospitality industry to generate employment, which is giving us operational efficiency also. Also, we are able to see that more and more hotels are coming up across different brands, across different star segments, not only in Ahmedabad, but in rest of Gujarat. In fact, recently there was a discussion wherein Ahmedabad hoteliers, we are trying to push tourism into rest of Gujarat also. So as a result, the whole tourism, the whole infrastructure which is coming up in rest of Gujarat is benefiting. So it's like a thing which is happening that we are benefiting the infrastructure and infrastructure is benefiting us. So we are leveraging our operational efficiencies on the basis of infrastructure and vice versa. So this is a very, very good cycle which has started in Gujarat, and the hoteliers are already playing a very crucial part in it. And I would recommend that we continue to play an even bigger part in it and supporting the government, because we should not always think that the government will make better and better policies, create better and better infrastructure. We have to do our part. So we have to leverage it in a better and better way so that we derive better operational efficiencies, so that we are able to generate more employment, we are able to create more suppliers, we are able to create more hotels, more tourism infrastructure. So all this is already going in the right direction, and I am thankful to everybody else, my other colleagues, because everybody is playing a very crucial role in this. And I wish and I'm sure that everybody will continue to do a great job in this area. So we will continue to leverage this.
So excellent. It's like networking. So you've got to leverage, you've got to get the ideas, hold hands and move on. And the government has really set great SOPs and rules, and we now need to walk the talk.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Keenan, I'm back to you. Workforce management and excellence. If you can address the challenges related to workforce management and outline some strategy for recruitment, training, and retention. You guys, like I keep saying in show after show, you guys are actually the skippers, the captains of large sea-going vessels, right? You need the people, and you need them for long. We may want to bring down attrition to zero. It'll never happen. And look, the development cycle of building talent, you cannot shorten that. You can compress it slightly, but jo time lena hai, wo time lega. So what are your plans and how do you manage that?
Which will be very dear to all of us, all the panelists here, and probably all hoteliers across the country. Like you say, people are at the heart of creating luxury hospitality experience. And that therefore your workforce or human capital is the most important. While you may continue to invest in capital and building big luxurious buildings, it's the staff and the people with it that drive it. To one of the toughest tasks I have had as being an opening general manager of a hotel, I would say, is the recruitment of good quality manpower. And now, a little bit more than a year in operation, it would be the retention of good quality manpower. I do believe that as a state, we are one of good exporter of manpower. When I say that, what I mean, people come to our hotels, learn, train, and then move on.
वो भाग लेते हैं.
We need to start retaining them.
Yeah.
Now, there may be many aspects that may be around it. One is knowledge, probably one is openings and avenues for the in-house employees or the employees here to release steam. And for that, they move on to bigger tier cities or even abroad. So now what I say, the current challenge which every one of us is facing, while it's the tourism policies and the opening of new hotels, there will be a lot of, I would say, competition among ourselves. One is among the staff that is there, and one is to get new ones. That's why it's very important that we maintain a balance when it comes to recruitment. That there has to be, you had mentioned it earlier in your conversation, that one of the best things about Gujarat is business. So people enjoy doing business more rather than joining jobs and working in hotels. So that we have to maintain that mix. So when our recruitment comes in, we have to look at both within the state as well as outside the state and maintain a healthy balance when it comes to that. Another new aspect which we at ITC Hotels are really focusing on are diversity and inclusion. Whereas to maintain a healthy balance when it comes to diversity and inclusion as well when it comes to the different communities that are there. So going forward, our focus primarily drives on these. And then the thing is that once you get the people on board, the next is hand-holding. Whereas there is a mentor system. So another good thing that we are pioneering to try and increase people to stay longer is new joiners. They can't be thrown immediately into the frying pan. They will get burned. You need to have someone with them, a catalyst, someone to say that slowly inducts them into operations. So the mentoring system, which would really help them to stay longer. Like I said, attrition is something that you also mentioned is not something that we will stop, but it is something that we can probably slow down. It's not going to stop completely. The rate of attrition can be slowed. It can be slowed if people are happy coming into work, where they feel valued, where they feel important. So HR practices when it comes to taking care of associates, giving them avenues, it's not only of enjoyment, it's also where they feel that they are growing and developing as professionals, where there's a career defined route which is there, which can be shown to them that this is the opportunity to grow. We have leadership programs, we have business leadership programs, we have development programs for staff where they can grow into management. There are fine examples of associates growing today into general managers, into F&B managers. As long as these stories continue to be put out there, as long as the associates which are there with you feel that they are valued and they are developed, it's not about just fun. It's about where they feel that they have growth opportunities within the company, where they can move from one ITC hotel to another ITC hotel. These are practices which will only help in retention. And that's what we are doing, and we are pushing forward for all associates within the chains.
Great. So I think that's brilliant. You see, and also please understand, we owe it to these children. Children, because we are the custodians of their career, right? So we owe it to them because not too long ago, we were where they are today, right? So I always say, do for the other what you would want others to do for you. Yeah.
They need to see you as adding value.
Absolutely.
They will only join you and work with you if they feel that their self-worth is preserved. If taking them
and
forward.
It's also, they must have faith in us.
Yes.
Right. So they must look up to us that here is somebody I can work with and grow with.
We have to learn from the past for that.
Or
the
perhaps
past is
develop.
3 years ago.
Or perhaps develop with, so I'm now going to come into you, Suraj, मेरे को ये बताओ, पहले तो I'm going to come into you on this part of sustainability. Tell me, I have this short inquiry regarding sustainability. How do you envision sustaining and advancing your eco-friendly practices in the future? I mean, the last round, Keenan has already spoken a bit on it, but how do you add that extra value to this?
I think sustainability has to be redefined. I mean, it's just not about cutting wastage or perhaps using efficient electricity, bulbs, and things like that. We came across as a fantastic definition of sustainability, which talks about fulfilling the needs of current generation without compromising the needs of future generation and ensuring a balance between economic growth. Now, when you look at how we look at as an IHG, we've taken IHG as a very strong way. We call it as a responsible business. In fact, within our community, we launched something called Journey to Tomorrow. It's a 10-year fantastic program, and it covers some unheard things, at least as far as sustainability is concerned. So we talk about, there are 5 pillars that we've identified, how we want to work for the next 10 years in this. We've said we want to champion a diverse culture where everyone will thrive. Now, what it means in simple understanding for hoteliers like us is we want to bring in equality, inclusion, and fairness, which is a key element today when we talk about retaining manpower, and especially when we want to be dependent on the social local supply for manpower. We want to bring in a gender balance. In fact, one of our hotels has gone ahead in India and hired the third gender, which you would have seen that many of us perhaps have seen them on the streets and perhaps there's no career defined for them. And this was applauded so well that this was discussed in Dubai office recently. And we're encouraging other hotels to go ahead and look at how can we have them as part of our team. We're also talking about our well-being, because well-being is something that we thought that, a man cannot cry. But we brought in our understanding. We said it's okay to feel not okay. And we have our organizational process where we have said, if you don't feel okay with anything that you go or come across in the hotels, please come across and talk to someone about it. The other element, the pillar number 2, we have also included is we're trying to improve the lives of our guests by making sure that when we make a new hotel or renovate or refurbish, we try and incorporate a lot of local items that perhaps is produced locally, which helps in transportation cost, carbon emission, and making sure that we're also supporting the local livelihood. And at the same point in time, we're going back and looking at how do we aid in supporting or reducing the local poverty? Because when you support the local economy, it automatically feeds the local people and gets more support for the hotel. Energy, I'm sure we keep discussing, and that's one thing that a lot of hoteliers have been taking a lot of pride in that. Obviously, carbon emission and climate change support, reducing our wastage. In terms of wastage, what we've also identified recently and incorporated in our ways of working is food wastage. We've also used technology in terms of identifying how technology can help us in terms of food wastage. So we've tied up with a company which not only looks at the segregation of the wastage, but also tells us through a data of what wastage is coming out and if it needs any intervention in terms of understanding why is that wastage coming in. And wastages have been defined, whether it is coming from buffet dishes, is it coming from plates, is it coming from preparation, is it coming from processing of the food, and what as a step can a hotel take in order to reduce that. Food wastage, we've realized that in case if it is not controlled, it could become a major problem for us. And I'm sure a lot of hotels today pay for food wastages being picked up by the municipal corporations. Not only it's a wastage, and it also adds up to the cost.
Actually, you should feel guilty about it.
Actually, yes, we're educating our client, and what we can do is we can re-engineer our menu. We can look at the portion size. We can educate our guests. We can educate our employees and team members. And if we not do that, I'm sure there are not days again far when we may have to start, because we see a lot of farmers' kids are running away from farming. They don't want to do farming. So ultimately, where would we get these raw materials from ultimately? In fact, one fine day.
True.
And the last but not the least is we're also looking at conserving water and securing what can we do in order to ensure that the water access is remained in supply at all the places which are at great risk, which could be lesser usage of toxic agents or chemicals, especially in laundries, cleaning supplies, and perhaps, we look at, because more water is required in processing of food, more water is required in cleaning of the kitchen equipments and materials. We're also looking at what can we do in terms of smart irrigation, recycling of water, whether we're using it in an air conditioning plant, we're using it in terms of our flushing systems, cleaning, irrigation support at the hotel. And also we're looking at how do we include our team members and social local people in terms of making this exercise a successful event.
Thank you so much. That really helps. We've got to be that proverbial conjuice, right? Of how do we grew up in an environment where we used to, we never had disposable bottles. If we wanted our aerated drinks, we had to give our empties and then get the refills.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, not to talk about newspapers and all. So let me come into you, Puneet. Last time we spoke about the global part of the industry and how to make a reach. Now let me pick on your mind for futuristic innovations. And if you can share some insights on how you look ahead at innovative approaches and technologies which make a general manager's armor, and how do you foresee implementing them in the luxury hospitality sector?
So I think the right example is with you, Mr. Khanna. You are more navigating all this with your phone, you see, and in today's date, for any general manager, a phone is his office. It is as good as that. So as and when there is a newer model of a phone launched, whatever brand it may be, there are these new features that help you. You can be anywhere and still be there, to be able to resolve at least most of the crisis. Well, moving ahead from a futuristic perspective, technology at this age or the generation in which we are at the moment is rapidly increasing, and it is equally expensive. What is important to know is that, yes, it is great to talk about technology, but it is for newer hotels which are opening up, the hotels that we are developing are far more technologically advanced than the ones which we already have as legacy hotels from past. But technology is really helping us to start with guest experience. I think that's the one most important factor where it is really helping us, whether it's about smart hotel rooms, or whether it is about Internet of Things, or whether it is about mobile check-in service before you even reach the hotel. Or it has made the check-in experience itself so flawless. I can remember the days when it will take at least 4 to 5 to 7 minutes to check in a customer. Now, if it is not busy, you can literally walk him to the room. And if the customer is pre-checked in and the key is on the mobile, you doesn't even need to come to the reception. So it is such contactless payments. Not many years ago. 5-8 years ago, there was a lot of money, credit card, all of that. Nowadays, people trust that box which is there on a small tailor at the street saying that 175 rupees received, and now you can just tap payments through Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or many other opportunities. Bandwidth. This has become such an important thing in hotels. It has almost become a criteria for staying or not staying in a hotel. If the internet bandwidth is good and you are able to have your 5-6 devices connected, you go to that hotel, although it might be 5 minutes away from your next competition hotel in a way. So it has become such an important factor for people to decide whether I will go there or not go there. Cybersecurity. All our things is now we are moving into mobiles. Technology has to really take into guest experience factor that, okay, I am at a secure location. And that can only happen because, and that's where the brands comes into picture to kind of give you, okay, your PIC data, whether it's credit card or any other information, is safer, and that can only happen through the use of this technology. We were talking about sustainability. I mean, so much of technology has come in of buying power through solar or windmill technology, or many others in terms of water conservation, rainwater harvesting, or many, many other factors I can go on in order to control the P&L of the hotel, Futuristic way, now if we look at it, the same things are now moving ahead to augmented reality experiences that you can be somewhere and do a complete hotel tour using an augmented reality spec. There are certain technologies like Canvas, which is being used for designing the website of a hotel, wherein they are becoming more interactive. Chatbots are appearing on the websites to be able to answer your question. You don't need to pick up a phone and ask a question. You can just ask a chatbot and your question is answered. When you look at artificial intelligence, use of artificial intelligence in capturing guest data, and nowadays there are pop-ups in our Opera and many other places related to artificial intelligence that gives you, okay, Mr. Khanna came in last time, stayed in room number 1102, and his room temperature was this, and his water temperature was that, and so it automatically gives you all the guest experience management tools through artificial intelligence to personalize your stay. And this is becoming more and more reality than what we used to listen about in some sci-fi movies. It is currently happening. We are using it in our hotels already. There is so much of data on SaaS service or in hospitality, and or whether you talk about putting it on the cloud, whichever way we want to call it. There is another very important factor which is to do with the workflow management. When we have been talking about finding the right people to do the job, just now Keenan was talking about the manpower. Technology is really taking it leaps and bounds in accounting systems in our hotels, in back-end purchasing systems in our hotels. We have to be, I can proudly say that Hyatt Hotels as a company is one of the leading hotel companies which embraces technology first and then moves on with it. As Hyatt, we have our own revenue management software system which we use. Nowadays, a customer goes on a phone and can check the price of 7 hotels together on one screen and decide where to stay. And it is this technology of linking yourself into those systems to be there so that you can be booked first or booked better. So that's the whole, another very important aspects. We have very recently installed a latest technology because our hotel was built in 2014. At that point of time, there was no such technology to self-clean the air handling units in order for efficiency of HVAC. And we have just installed it very, very recently now. And it has become so efficient that our BMS system really works on its own. There is no human intervention required for us to ensure that the air is clean, or we have to, there are parameters which are digitally coming in, or the air quality index inside the room or in the corridor. It switches on and switches off on its own. So it creates efficiency of power saving as well at the same time. So it's a combination of many factors, that go in our system. Travelers, earlier we used to, identify as business travelers or leisure travelers. Now there is bleisure travelers. There's no distinction between, business and leisure. Anybody coming in would like to go to a Netflix or to whatever they want to watch it on TV systems or any other systems what they have in the room. It's the technology that keeps them connected, and they would like to possibly video call is a very simple way. Look at what we are doing now. 10 years ago, this used to be in a banquet hall over a stage, 300 people watching us, and today we are doing it online. And I'm sure that right now, most of us are stationed at some location. There is time in next couple of years. We are sure that our 3D models will be visible through wherever we are. And I don't really need to be in my office to be able to speak like this.
By the way, we saw it during the last elections.
Yeah, correct. We saw it during the last elections. Correct. So this is already going, I mean, from Wi-Fi, there is a new technology that has come in, which is called as SIP DECT. Now, SIP DECT is a technology which will come in India, I'm sure, in next few years, and you don't need Wi-Fi anymore, so you don't need these connections and these bandwidths when you have this SIP DECT coming in. You will be easily able to connect to a device and that's secure, that you don't really need to be right now. If you're staying in my hotel, you will be able to access my Wi-Fi only when you're in my hotel. But if you are my resident guest and I can define a 10-kilometer area, you will still be connected to my internet when that technology comes in through 5G. So it is such a phenomenal way. Social listening and social sharing, I mean, technology. I mean, there are now TikTok, I mean, although it may not be a very valid experience for our country, but it is such an amazing tool that is coming. It is gaining a lot of exposure, like TripAdvisor. So yeah, I mean, we can go on. Technology is certain thing which is really making a difference in our life.
When technology scares you, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I would like to re-emphasize once again, it is something which is to make things better.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it is expensive, and it should be able to be affordable to be able to make that change.
All right. Thanks a pile, Puneet. So Avinash and Amit, my last two questions to you, I'll roll in with Avinash. We'll keep it within 3 minutes each. So let's talk about Avinash. Let's talk about distinctive branding in competitive landscape. If you can share insights on how you as a general manager plan to distinguish your luxury hotels in a highly competitive environment. Short, crisp, succinct.
I think distinctive branding, as we all know, is a matter that takes shapes in various. It's the architecture of the hotel, it's the decor inside the hotel, and it's also the communication that you use to come across. So in my hotel, for example, in the picture that you see behind me, the fenestration that you see on the windows is a hark back to the stepwells of Gujarat. So since we are in Gujarat and we are rooted to the soil, the hotel building has been inspired by that. In terms of the interiors, one can use handicraft and art from the city and from the state, which embellishes the interiors of the hotel. Distinction in branding is to my mind something that can be connected with also the story that gets told. So when you create a narrative and a story, that is what sort of is most effectively communicated to the target audience. And I can't think of a better example than the responsible luxury tagline of ITC hotels, where you're essentially making the customer your hero of the story. And what you're really doing is offering a value proposition where the hero is the customer, and the customer makes a choice to choose a responsible experience, and therefore subscribes to your effort of reaching out to the customer. And in doing so, he takes action because you're offering a prospect where he's sort of combining sustainability with his luxury experience, and therefore choosing something which is right by his own mind and by his own conscience. So in an increasingly aware world where we are looking at sustainability as a fact of life and as a reality, the fact that we are branding the hotel concept as a responsible choice, I think works well in terms of reaching out to somebody who's wanting to make that choice. So another example of distinction in branding, if I can use the example of my own city. So Baroda is actually a manufacturing hub, but you would read about Baroda being the Sanskari city. So immediately what you connect with is the culture that the city is known for, and what it offers in terms of the culture. So that's something that conveys that the story is actually able to reach out and connect with the customer. So in a nutshell, I think distinctive branding is all about creating your narrative and creating that story and reaching out to the prospective clientele.
Thanks, Apil. Avinash, you couldn't have done it in such a compact response better. Thank you so much, Avinash. Last but not the least, before we cap the show, I'm back to my friend who's going to send me diamonds, Amit Mehta. Amit, tell me, exceeding evolving guest expectations, right? If I was to ask you about them, I'm just going to get you to examine how a general manager's plan to exceed the evolving expectations of discerning luxury hotel guests can be. What would be your response?
Thank you, Mr. Khanna.
And also include in that diverse guest experiences.
Yeah, sure. So, thank you. So, again, the physical luxury of a hotel or a guest room is really not important to a luxury customer today. Because I think the kind of residence that our customers have, the kind of trained staff that they have in their houses is far superior sometimes than what we give in our hotels. So I think what a luxury traveler today is looking at is an experiential component. Because for him or her, the experiential component becomes very important. Because when you look at today's luxury traveler, they will not want to put anything luxurious that they have bought, might be a Louis Vuitton bag or something, on their social media handles. But you give them a once in a lifetime experience, or give them an experience which is small, but something that they cannot have at home. It'll be all over their social media.
True.
Because they really want to talk about that kind of an experience. So for us today as luxury hotel general managers and luxury hotel operators, I think it becomes very important that we really look at customization. Customization of a customer or a guest becomes very, very important. And for customization, what I mean is dive into the data. For us at Marriott Hotels, I think our Marriott Bonvoy loyalty program is sacrosanct. We really take it very, very seriously. For us, our customer becomes very important, and whatever information we have about that customer, we really try and customize that, stay based on that experience that we can really cull out for that customer. So I think the data becomes very important. Dive into that data of the customer and really customize his or her stay based on that experience. So that becomes very important because today a customer is looking for pursuit of moments. They're looking at small moments that they really want to experience. For example, after COVID, what we experienced in Surat, I can be very particular about this city, is we had a lot of people who came for work and joy, vacations. So people wanted to come with their families. So what we did was, when the gentleman or the lady are working, the spouse is free. So diamonds, again, very, very important. We have a lot of friends who own large diamond factories in this city. So we were able to really customize tours for our customers to go and experience diamond polishing and diamond cutting. This is something that you really can't experience otherwise.
True.
So that was one experience and we could see the excitement that the lady or the gentleman had when they came back to the hotel. Oh, I was holding a diamond which was worth 5 CR. Can you imagine?
Why can't we do this? When you go to Brussels or Antwerp, they take you to the bourses where the diamonds are traded, and also diamond polishing factories.
Absolutely. So
the entire labor is from India, especially from Surat.
Correct. So I'm just telling you, Mr. Khanna, the kind of experience that you can create with these small touch points is absolutely phenomenal. So I think that's one area that really is important today. And then when we look at another area that we look at is food. Food becomes very important. So another experience that you can provide to a customer is food, whether it's giving them the kind of food that they want to eat or helping them to experience how that food is created. Like, for example, in Surat or this part of the Gujarat, in winters, there is a dish called umbadio, which is a dish that is made out of seasonal winter vegetables, which are put in a big earthen pot. You dig the ground, put that pot inside the ground, put cow dung and everything around it, and with that heat, the dish gets cooked. And it is all covered with aromatic leaves. So we in our hotel have a nice lawn. So we've created a small zone in the winters where we take our customers and give them that experience of umbadio, and that the same umbadio gets served to them. And imagine the kind of excitement you see in children and ladies.
I didn't know about this. So this is extremely new.
Yeah, so I think it's important. And again, all our friends spoke about sustainable tourism. So I think today's customer is very, very focused on that. The more we can talk about it, or the more we can showcase it on our operations, it really makes them feel that, okay, I'm really adding to that whole environment of not polluting the environment. So I think we need to really create that experience for our customer today. So I think in a nutshell, it's all about this. And we can keep talking about it. We have enough experience about the customers, but I think in a nutshell, it's all about customization, giving them the moments and giving them the cultural immersion of the place.
Excellent. I'm coming to Gujarat, by the way, soon. You have me excited.
I
Right.
am
So-
taking you to a diamond factory.
No, not just the diamond factory, the food, the people,
Oh, yes.
right? So, great. So, with that, we shall cap up the show with your permission, right? So, as we conclude this insightful exploration, it's evident that the general managers steering luxury hotels in Gujarat are not just keepers of tradition, but pioneers of a dynamic future. Your vision for 2025 is deeply entrenched in operational strategies, and it showcases a commitment to excellence amid challenges. Challenges are always going to be there. If there were no challenges, right, we would not have the jobs that we do have, right? We'll have them all lined up. Gujarat's luxury hospitality sector is driven by leaders like you who are poised for an exciting journey. And it promises not just growth, but an unparalleled guest experience in the years leading to 2025. Thank you so much, gentlemen. You've been great brand ambassadors, and you run such fantastic properties. I mean, you look at the assets which sit behind you on virtual screens. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to sample your luxuries. So expect me back there soon. And ladies and gentlemen, we are soon going to be back next week on Thursday, December 7th, again 4 to 5 p.m. And this time, another new location, another new set of general managers. But before we sign off, and before I thank all the stars on the show today, let me thank Diversey with this video. Thank you, Team BW. Thank you, Team BW Hotelier, for bringing out show after show every week. And last but not the least, to Team Gujarat. And thank you, Avik. Thank you for your inputs. Thank you for valuable insights. Thank you, Keenan. It's been a great show, our first one together, Avik, Keenan, and Puneet. Thank you, Avinash, Suraj, and Amit, our second show together.
Absolutely.
Listen, it takes a lot to prepare and respond, and I'm grateful to you all for gracing our platform, for enriching the platform. Thank you for your wonderful presence and inputs. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, BW Hotelier and Team BW. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna.
Pleasure.